My good friend Sharon texted me from Texas today wanting to get my link to my Daniel playlist. So I was so glad to hear from her, and glad you're listening, Sharon. So anyway, I got started looking back through those lessons, and I saw this one. I just want to give you this little excerpt, and I'll give you the link to it in the comments. But it was Daniel chapter 4, Nebuchnezzar, a monument of God's mercy. Verse 37 says, "Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven." And extol means to praise highly, like we ought to always be doing. Isn't it amazing how we humans seem to have to learn life's lessons the hard way? And it is by God's mercy in many cases that He keeps us alive long enough to learn them. With all Nebuchadnezzar had seen, you'd think he would have been converted a long, long time ago. Daniel's wisdom in chapter 1 didn't convert him. The prophecy given in chapter 2 didn't. The fiery furnace episode miracle did not convert him. God had to knock him down to get him to ever look up to Him. King Nebuchadnezzar became a monument of God's mercy and grace, and he's one of many that God has had to bring to his wit's end so he would come to his final end as a saved man. Sources say that Nebuchadnezzar didn't live long after the episode in chapter 4, where he kind of went crazy. People think he actually went insane for a while. But he didn't live long after that. He regained his health, and I have never read just how long he lived after regaining his health, but I'm sure what was left of his life was the happiest, most joy-filled time of his life. One of the main things to see in this chapter and through the book of Daniel is that God is sovereign. He is in complete control, and He is always working in our lives. He is working all things together for good for the Christian, and that may involve some things we think at the moment are very, very bad. You know, we witnessed something this week with the attempted assassination of President Trump. Wow, did God ever step in and intervene in that? And there's a verse in the book of Daniel that says God is the one that removes kings, and He's the one that sets them up. You know, God is in control. No matter how bad things look, we can know God's working this some way for our good. And I'm so thankful that He worked that out for good for President Trump and for the American people this week. So anyway, let me get on. This is just supposed to be a short excerpt. So where was I? God is sovereign. He's in complete control. He's always working in our lives. He's working all things together for good for the Christian, which may involve some hard things, but needful things. So some think that what we're going through is bad, and it is. But when we look back, a lot of times we can see how God worked it. Israel, during this book of Daniel, they continued on and on in their rebellion. So they were enslaved in the land of idols. The land of the gods is what Babylon was called. The thing they thought they had always wanted, so they could see they had their eyes on the wrong God. God used Babylon to punish Israel. And then He's going to use Babylon with Persia. Persia's going to come in and punish Babylon. Innocent people suffered along with the rebellious. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they had not worshipped idols, but their job in Babylon was to point people to God. Sometimes the bad things happen to us, that through it, our job in this world is to point people to God. Bad things happen no matter what, because we live in a fallen world. Jesus told us bad things would happen. But don't let it be for nothing. Use it. Use it for God. Use it for a purpose. And you'll get your reward for it one day and realize that this little spot of time on earth is nothing. Nothing compared to the glory that will be revealed in us in eternity. Our light affliction is just but for a moment. That's how our Bible puts it. It took a long time for Nebuchadnezzar to come around, but he finally did, and what an impact his testimony must have had on the world. He was king. Nebuchadnezzar. He's old now. He has reigned over 40 years. He's seen more of the world and done more than most in all of his days. Wait a minute, let me start over with that. Nebuchadnezzar is old now. He has reigned over 40 years. He's seen more of the world and done more than most all in his day ever had. Yet, he's still been troubled with fears and doubts, and he never really had any peace until now. Everything has been all about him. Me, I, mine. The peace that finally comes when he begins seeing God's divine power and realizing that God is and always has been at work in his life to make him all he ever needs to be. It's not all about him now. He now embraces that peace, and he wants peace to be multiplied to everyone. Read the chapter how God worked in his life. Don't wait until you're old and worn out to begin seeing the events going on around you. They're all of God's doings. Psalms 118, 23 through 24. This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. See it. If you look around, you can see the Lord's doings in every aspect of your life and in everything in the world around you. That means you're not alone. He is always with you. When others walk out and forsake you, he is still with you, and he is in control. He's got your back, and he is doing something marvelous in your life. Cooperate with him and let him do his perfect work, so the process won't take 7 years like it did in the king's life. If you enjoyed this little excerpt, tune in to my YouTube channel, and I will put the link to this lesson in the comments. God bless you.